Hello, everybody! Woo! I said hello, everybody! How's everybody doing? Have you had a good time so far meeting people from all across the country? Has it been a good day so far? Great stuff.
You certainly brought the good weather out for it, folks. Welcome to the 2025 March for Life.
Woo! Introduce yourself.
Folks, it's an absolute pleasure to be here. My name is Peter, and I'm going to be one of your MCs for this evening, and it's my pleasure to introduce our co-MC, Mrs. Wendy Grace.
Yay! It's great. Well, actually, there's technically 3 of us here today, as you can probably see. So, hopefully we won't need an obstetrician during this March for Life, because I'm due a baby in just a few weeks. So, it's this little one's first March for Life. So, it's great to see so many of you here. I loved just being around St. Stephen's Green and chatting to people, seeing people from all across the country. As always, you have turned up in great numbers. You know, this time last year, when we were gathered together, we were focused on and we were talking about the general election. We asked you to speak with your feet. We asked you to turn up. We asked you to make sure you would support pro-life politicians. And you know what? The hard work that you guys put in paid off, and we had a phenomenal number of pro-life representatives elected. So well done, you. Woo. Big clap for yourselves. We're here to celebrate, support, and protect life, but also it's about the chats, isn't it, Peter?
Oh, it's a fantastic day altogether. And folks, we're in this wonderful, privileged position up here where we can see the corner, and the crowd is still coming around the corner, and it's amazing to see you turning out in bigger and bigger numbers year upon year. So give yourselves a massive cheer. Well done. And some people have requested in previous years that we try to leave some room in the schedule so that people can not only make their bus and their train on the way home, but have that opportunity to mix, mingle, and to plan for the strategy ahead. So today, some of our speeches are going to be that little bit shorter so that we have that extra time to meet the other members of our wonderful pro-life generation that are here today.
Yeah, so make sure you chat, make a few new friends. It's one of those great occasions where you look around and you go, wow, I am not alone. There's so many amazing people from across the country in the pro-life community. It's also great to see so many children and young families here today. I know the first thing my kids spotted, they're up the front here, is the ice cream van.
Ice cream van.
Just don't run out of ice cream before we get off the stage. So you've got... That's about halfway down, and there's also the kids zone just beyond that for anyone who has small kids. Lots of stuff going on for the kids at the kids zone there, so make sure that you check that out. And also the merchandise stand. I'm loving seeing all the pro-life hoodies and all that sort of stuff, so make sure you say hi to Trish and the gang at the merchandise stand. It's a really great witness to being pro-life when you're able to throw on the hoodie or the t-shirt, the car stick or whatever it may be, to show others that you are pro-life and proud.
Woo! And let's spread the news of today far and wide, because so many of us are carrying around a phone with a camera in our pockets. So make sure that all of those photographs of your beautiful smiling faces make their way onto social media. And when they do, use the hashtag PLC2025, and you can see all of the different things that happened at today's event. So make sure and use them photographs well, and let's make this as viral as we can possibly make it.
Brilliant. Hashtag PLC 2025. One of the campaigns that some of you might be aware of is a new campaign called Positive Pathways. And it's such an important campaign because it's all about alternatives to abortion. Sadly, in this country, when it comes to the government and media narrative, it's only a one-way street. When a woman experiences an unplanned pregnancy, if she, for example, contacts the so-called My Options helpline, the only option that's given is one. And sadly, it's a one-way street, all roads leading to abortion. So the Positive Pathways campaign, it's really focusing on we need to support, encourage and provide alternatives to abortion. And I know everybody here agrees with that, but the interesting thing is when the Pro-Life campaign have done research on this and they've asked people, do you think women should be given information on alternatives? The vast majority, over 85%, say yes, of course they should. So this is something that we have to work on together. Right now, women are being kept in the dark if they have an unplanned pregnancy. They're not being given alternatives. They're not being given full information. So much for so-called choice, eh? So we really need to come together to make sure that we work together on positive alternatives and full information being given to women. Is that something we can all get behind? Great.
Yes, and it's truly shocking the lack of information and support that exists at a state level regarding these alternatives. But there has been a huge number of increases in the pro-life candidates elected last year at the local elections and also the general election. So right now is a real turning point, a real cause for hope, because we can see the wheels of change starting to move into motion.
You know what? There's so many amazing reasons to be here today. But one of the most important reasons is, sadly, since the introduction of abortion, as many of you know, the year-on-year figures just continue to increase. Since the legislation was introduced, you are here for 50,000 reasons. 50,000 lives that have been lost, 50,000 women that have been let down. 50,000 reasons to be here today. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for them, for those who had no voice. Give yourselves a round of applause for standing up for them. You continuing to turn up for those 50,000 reasons is something that is going to lead to lasting change. The message is starting to get through, and that's what we'll be touching on throughout today. Real results, real change. Yes, indeed. And I think the election of more pro-life members of the Oireachtas has been a real game changer indeed, and it opens the door to a lot of possibilities. But as promised earlier, we are going to move proceedings along a little quicker today to leave more time for people at the end to chat, mix, network before we go our separate ways. So, with that in mind, it's my great honour to introduce the first guest speaker for today. Come on, Sarah. Waiting in the wings. I'll introduce you. We have to big you up first. You're not allowed to start. You need a big clap for Councillor Sarah Riley. Hello. So, our next guest speaker is someone who has shown unbelievable resilience and determination, and it all paid off when she was elected to Shannon Erin at the start of February. Before that, she served as a poll-topping councillor on County Cavan Council. She is a strong and committed advocate for the most vulnerable in our society, particularly in speaking up for women and their unborn babies. I am thrilled to introduce you to newly elected Senator Sarah O'Reilly.
Thank you very much. It gives my heart great joy to see so many people here today. How are you all doing? As they say in Cavan, well. Friends, today we stand together, united by a cause that transcends politics, a cause rooted in the deepest convictions of the human heart, the belief that every life matters and that women deserve better than abortion. We are here because we know Ireland can be a place where compassion and courage walk hand in hand. But urgent action is needed by our leaders in government. Our soaring abortion numbers reveal a tragedy that cannot and must not be ignored any longer. We demand change, not in the far-off distant future, but now. I am proud, as a newly elected member of Shannon Éireann, to march under the pro-life banner. I am proud to support a movement that refuses to accept the status quo, a movement that insists that there is a better way forward, one where positive alternatives to abortion are not hidden in the shadows, but brought to the forefront of national policy. We have to move beyond the present situation where those in power, and sadly many in the media, are acting like they live in an alternative society, pretending that there's no downside to the new abortion law, pretending that the abortion numbers are not skyrocketing, pretending that no women regret their abortions, pretending that women are being informed prior to an abortion about practical supports available should she choose to keep her baby, when scandalously nothing of the sort is taking place. It is a travesty that is happening. It's a betrayal of women and their unborn babies. The way the debate has been managed and controlled, and the way the public are not being presented with an honest and true picture of what is occurring under this law. In the Seanad recently, I expressed profound sadness that in my local constituency, Cavan General Hospital has begun to carry out abortions. It's the last of Ireland's 19 maternity hospitals to start doing so, and it's broke my heart. In addition to the terrible loss of life from the abortions that will take place, there are not sufficient freedom of conscience protections in place for doctors and other healthcare workers who don't want to facilitate abortions. The lack of transparency surrounding what is happening under the abortion law is allowing coercive abortion practices to operate freely. Some of you will be aware of the horrific story involving a minor in care who was locked in a room and forced to take an abortion pill. Something's clearly not right in our country when a story like this is relegated to the news and brief section of a daily newspaper and completely ignored by all the other media outlets. It's sad beyond words too that the outgoing master of the Rotunda Hospital confirmed not that long ago that up to 95% of unborn babies diagnosed with Down syndrome at the hospital now end up being aborted. When that announcement was made, there was no outrage. Not alone that, there was no remorse, no expressions of remorse by the architects of Ireland's new abortion regime. But thankfully, it's not all bad news. I am pleased to report that when Ruth Sullivan, who is here today, visited the Oireachtas recently and shared her story, many TDs and senators listened intently to what she had to say, and her story is very important. I want to thank Ruth here today for her courage and generosity in going public with her story. I want to assure you, Ruth, that you are having an impact and that you are making a difference, and thank you. And I want to ensure everybody here today that you are making a difference, even though at times it may not feel like we are. But we have to keep pressing forward without apology, making sure that our stories are heard and not sidelined. We must insist that the hollow slogan, "Trust Women," being pushed by abortion supporters, be replaced with real trust. Trust demonstrated by giving women the full truth, the full support and full chance to choose life. Change is absolutely within our grasp. It will happen, and I can feel a change. Each one of you is proof of that. Every pro-life billboard, every pro-life conversation, every email, every call to your public representative is pushing Ireland towards a better future, so keep up the good work. I believe we have turned the corner, and we will keep going with persistence and steadfast hope in our hearts. And I want to thank you all for the work you are doing. Gur maith go léir, agus míle buchas, slán agus beannacht.
Folks, can we have another big bullabus for Sarah Riley? Isn't it absolutely wonderful to have people like Sarah representing us in this building right behind me? So thank you, Senator, for your inspirational words that give us so much hope to all of us, so much hope to us all, and that things will start to improve if we stay on track and we don't ease up. So, Senator, thank you again. Just a reminder to everybody once again that the donation buckets are passing through the crowd. So thank you to everyone who has contributed already. As well as today's march, there are so many initiatives run by the Pro-Life campaign, too many to mention, and these rely on the contributions of generous people just like you. Great initiatives, the Future Leaders Programme, all the research carried out by the PLC, awareness building initiatives like current billboard campaigns, and all of the efforts to ensure alternatives to abortion are prioritised on and on. So if you please can make a donation today, it'll be most appreciated. And if you're part of that modern generation that doesn't carry cash, but you have your card or your phone, then make your way over to the merch stand. There's an opportunity there to tap and donate. Believe me, it will be greatly received.
Do you know what I'm loving seeing? I can see a great Galway flag there. Give us a wave. Woohoo! And I can see a cool Meath banner as well. I love the homemade posters as well that people have put the effort into. Hope, not abortion, I can see there. Absolutely gorgeous. Thanks for putting in so much work and effort today. Now, this next speaker is a story that just really needs to be told. I first met Ruth Sullivan when I was doing a podcast with her about her story, which she's going to share with you very shortly. Now, as someone who's been working in journalism for nearly 20 years now, it was one of those stories that just not only floored me, but left me feeling so many emotions, from sadness to inspiration at her courage, but also the feeling that this is a story that needs to be told. And I was so privileged to be part of telling it, not only in this podcast, but some of you might have seen the video that Ruth also did, and I worked on it a little bit with her. It's already, in just less than 2 weeks, had 170,000 views on Facebook. It's called The Other Side of Abortion. So if you haven't seen it, please do watch it and share it. It's powerful stuff. But you know what the incredible thing is that says a lot about the media landscape today? From purely a journalistic perspective, this story was so compelling. It had such an important human interest element to it. Yet no other journalist wanted to share or hear Ruth's story. So my plea to you today is that it's up to us, to you and I, to share stories like Ruth's. When you hear them today, to go home and to share them with family and friends, and of course, share the video. The courage she has shown is truly incredible. Please give a really warm welcome to Ruth Sullivan, who's going to share with us her story today. Ruth! Okay. Another clap, go on.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's lovely to see so many people here and a great turnout. Okay, so where to begin? The truth hurts, and, well, the truth needs to be told. I just wish at the time somebody was strong enough to actually take us on back then and say, you know, have you thought about things? Have you thought about this? Have you thought about down the road? Have you thought about how your choices will affect you and your family? I really try to wrap my head around this, because on the one hand, I take full responsibility for my actions, our actions, myself and my husband. And I've asked my husband on occasion, a lot actually, if he recalled anyone mentioning to us at the time that there were maybe other paths that we could have taken. And he said the same thing. There was no one that actually was brave enough to say to us, have you thought about this? Thank you. Have you thought about the ramifications? As a result, I thought I was doing what was best for our little baby girl, Sive, at the time. Whether it's an unplanned pregnancy or a case like mine where we received a diagnosis that little baby Sive had Paytow syndrome, women should, as standard practice, be informed about all the concrete and practical social support and alternatives that are available before an abortion goes ahead. It's irreversible. At present, nothing like this is happening. I find it astounding that the government presents the current approach, which only pushes abortion as a model of best practice. What's happening is having a truly devastating impact on the lives of many women, not to mention what it's doing to the lives of our unborn babies. And what about the wider societal impact? The doctor who terminated the life of my baby came back a little later to pay his respects, and I remember clearly him saying, "I'm very, very sorry for your loss," which, as I said in the video, is still bizarre when you think about it. You know, the very person, you know, who ends the life of your baby, pays his respects, and then he says he's sorry for your loss. It's not natural. No way. But there seems to be denial about this issue everywhere you look. When my stance on abortion changed, one high-profile politician was tripping over herself to get a photograph with me, just to reinforce her abortion-supporting credentials on social media. But when I subsequently contacted her to fill her in on the other side of the story, after being through the trauma, that we are now going through, myself, my family, as a result of the regret about terminating little baby Sive, I never ever got a reply. To this day, I have still received no reply. It's frightening the way some politicians casually talk about the issue and campaign on it. This is real life. You're playing with real babies, lives, and mothers for whatever agenda. Some women might never acknowledge their remorse, but I really doubt this. Having gone through it, I really, really doubt this. I seriously doubt that any woman who has gone through something like this, or who's gone through an abortion, that they don't feel affected by it. On a spiritual level, on a physical level, on a mental and emotional level, they will never, ever be the same, regardless of whether they will ever admit it in this lifetime or not. They may choose not to talk about it, but they carry it. They need to be able to express themselves without fear or shame or being cancelled. This is the other side of abortion, and you cannot wipe this out. This brings us back to the present situation. As I said, there is a huge, huge shortfall of support, emotional support, practical support, physical support, you name it. Anything at all around mothers, families, babies, mothers and families who find themselves in this situation we were in. They're left at the mercy of a system that resists open debate, that seems to be locked into a rigid structure with no wiggle room, no nuance, no compassion for addressing genuine human concerns. How can this continue to be tolerated? It can't be. As a pro-life movement, we need to work together to steer things in a better direction so that the terrible heartbreak and the loss of life be brought to an end. Recently, the all-party Oireachtas Life and Dignity group hosted an event very close to where we are today, where the video of our story was played, followed by a Q&A session where I answered questions posed by members of the Oireachtas present. I understand the response was pretty positive afterwards, and I am really, really grateful for the opportunity to share my story in the hope that it contributes to some positive change. It's wonderful, it really is, to see so many people here today and at pro-life events all around the country. There's real potential to bring about change if we stay the course together. People who campaign for abortion often describe it as a compassionate response to an unplanned or challenging pregnancy. I did at the time. I convinced myself it was. But that's not the whole story. It's not all the story, because 6 years on, I assure you, there is nothing compassionate or dignified about it. I speak from experience, and I will regret it till the day I die. At the time of the abortion, I didn't really have my faith back then. I didn't have God like I have him now. So it was a really, really dark time. But out of the darkness comes light, and that's where hope comes in. There's hope for all of us, and there is hope for the cause we are fighting for. And I truly believe that. Together, we will forge a better path if we put our minds together, keep the faith, and persevere. Thank you so much for listening.
I know that everybody joins me in just thanking Ruth so much for sharing her story, and I've been blessed enough just to get to know her over this last little while, and the courage that she has to share her story in the hopes that it might help bring about change or to help another woman. Sadly, the reality at the moment is still this. When I went in for my 20-week scan 17 weeks ago, I'm 37 weeks now, and I've had 3 babies since the legislation. And when you go in for your 20-week scan, that feeling of fear that if you're told that something isn't right, that the default expectation will be abortion, is truly terrifying. Not the feeling that doctors and midwives will have your back and will support and look after you and your baby. There has been a sea change. There's a change in attitude. And to think that, and thank God everything is well with this baby, but to think that had that not been the case, that the next thing that would happen the moment the sonographer says, I need to get a doctor in here, you know the pressure that you'll be put under. And sadly, I've met many people over the last number of years who have been put under immense pressure, not just at their 20-week scan if they get bad news, but at every other appointment where they are being asked to have an abortion. This is something that we have to fight to change. And this is why it's so important that you are here today. Thank you again for turning up. Isn't that an important reason to be here? And that's part of what the Positive Pathways campaign is about. Whatever situation a pregnant mother finds herself in, whether it's an unplanned pregnancy, whether it's a difficult diagnosis, that she is given positive alternatives. Now, some of you might have seen the billboard campaign that has been put across the country. And of course, these things don't happen by themselves. So that's why it's really important when the buckets are being passed around today, or you go to tap off at the merchandise stand, that you're generous, because we can't do it without the people here today. That's for sure.
And folks, all around you, you can see the seeds of change. The wheels of momentum are starting to turn. So despite some dreadful things happening since the new abortion law took effect in 2019, since then, there has been a group of people, ideologically small group of people, who have held an iron grip on decision making. And the figures are quite scary. We have gone from 2,879 abortions in 2018 to 10,033 abortions in 2023. And those are the latest figures, and all things indicate that when figures for last year are released, they're going to be larger. But around us and around you are the seeds of hope. You are the wheels of momentum, and we can feel the tide beginning to turn. And it's because of you, and it's because you voted with your feet, and you're here today. So thank you.
Okay, so we want to let other people know about this amazing event, so I'm going to give you some instructions to get a photo. So any of our photographers, our official photographer is coming up on the stage. So we have a few different photos we want to capture of this day today. It's really important. So the first one is a big group photo of everyone from the stage. Get your best pearly smile on. So what you're going to do is, not too high, but hold up your signs and your balloons so we can see them all. And just keep them held up till I tell you to put them down. Everybody look towards me. Everyone look at me with your flags, your balloons, your posters up high. Oh, see Donegal pro-life? Those Galway flags are still flying high. That's great, guys. Thanks a million. Just make sure that we've got that shot.
And could we have another photograph, please? This time, everybody looking this way, but without the balloons, without the posters, and without the flags. Just lots and lots of smiling faces, lots and lots of teeth. So on 3, can we see everybody's teeth? 1, 2, 3.
Big cheer, guys. We're happy to be here, aren't we? Okay, the last one. This is the last ask. We want a photo with just the flags and balloons. So just hold up the flags and the balloons, not the posters. It's just to get the colours in. So cool. Hold up all your balloons. Wave your flags.
On 3, one really big cheer. 1, 2, 3.
Now, you see, the photographer has to get what's called a wide shot. Are you changing your lenses? You all good? Got the thumbs up? Okay, we're changing camera lenses, so keep your arms to rest. I'll tell you when to put it up. Okay, put those balloons up again. Thank you, guys.
Let's have a smile so big we have to get a bigger lens. 1, 2, 3.
Woo! Great, you guys are brilliant striking a pose. Can I just say to people as well, make sure if you're looking to your left, if you're looking to your right, and there's people that you don't know, introduce yourself, make new friends. It's so great to find just new pro-life friends to support one another and to be here together in solidarity. I'm sure this is something you all agree with, and I believe with every ounce of my being that history will look back on us, on you and I, on being on the right side of history by being pro-woman, pro-baby, and pro-life.
And folks, I don't know about you, but I certainly feel energised from having been here today. And I know you've got 1 or 2 really large cheers left in you today. So, save one of them for this absolute gem and inspiration to us all. Please welcome the CEO of Pro-Life Campaign, Eilis Mulroy.
Thank you so much, Peter and Wendy. They did a fabulous job today, didn't they? Great to see so many people out on such a wonderful sunny day. So great to have this fine weather. I want to thank, first of all, each one of you for being here today, especially those who have travelled long distances up Galway, for the people who came from the west. It's such an important thing that we gather like this to pledge our support and commitment for such a noble cause. We say at events like this that no sincere pro-life effort is ever in vain, and it's so true. Last year, as Wendy said, the theme of this march was encouraging people to vote pro-life in the local, European and general elections that took place soon afterwards. And we know what happened in those elections. The number of pro-life candidates elected increased significantly. Thanks to your commitment in voting pro-life and encouraging others to do likewise, we are now in a much better place politically to effect positive change. but the lion's share of the thanks has to go to the pro-life candidates who put their names forward for election. They deserve our support and our applause. Your sacrifices and efforts have paved the way for a much brighter future, and we are most grateful for that. We still have a long, hard road in front of us, but the lift we needed is finally here. And moving forward, our footing is firmer and our focus is clear. Something that I've been really struck with personally when visiting the Oireachtas since the recent elections is how much more open TDs and senators are to the message we are presenting. Not all of them, of course, but significantly more than in the recent past. They seem to grasp the point that things have gone too far in one direction, and it's time to balance things out. The Pro-Life Campaign's Positive Pathways campaign, which focuses on the changes that are needed, is a very timely initiative, and a big thank you to everyone who is helping to roll it out to ensure that we increase public awareness about the steps needed to make things better. Thanks to our wonderful donors who are helping to pay for our latest billboard initiative, and to everyone who's sent an instant message to Oireachtas members seeking their support for the changes we want to see. If you haven't already done that, we urge you to do that today. It just takes a minute, and you can get the link on the website prolifecampaign.ie. So a few words of thanks before we finish. Of course, I want to thank our two MCs, Peter and Wendy. You did a super job, and we send our best wishes to Wendy for the birth of her 4th child very soon. Well done. Thank you to all of those people who made today happen. Our donors, our volunteers, our internal team who worked hard in recent weeks, with a special mention of Trish, and those who participated in the family gathering in advance of the event today, and the religious services. A special word of thanks to Bishop Dennis Nulty for celebrating Mass today, and to Hugh and Ronnie Morrison for leading the prayer service at Grace Service today as well. And we're delighted that you've all been able to participate. A quick word of tribute to the politicians. Without you, we can't make progress. I know there are a number here today, and I'm sorry if I haven't met you. I know Senator Mullen's here. Thanks, Senator Mullen, for all the work you do. Obviously, Senator Sarah O'Reilly is here. I met Councillor Mary Bohan here earlier. I'm sure there are others, and thank you to those that are here. We really appreciate you and all that you do. Thanks to our terrific guest speakers, Senator Sarah O'Reilly of Aontú and Ruth Sullivan. We're immensely grateful to you for being here. Ruth, I want to pay a special tribute to you, and thank you so much for telling your personal story. It can't be easy, but I want to assure you that it's having a really powerful impact. You're an extraordinary person, and we are so indebted to you for all that you are doing to make things better for women and their unborn babies. Thank you, Ruth. At the heart of public life in Ireland today, there is a disconnect, a denialism, an indifference, and a total lack of accountability that has to be confronted and broken. It is time for some balance to be restored. And to make that happen, we have to commit our resolve, our talents, our compassion, and our deep concern for the most vulnerable in society at the service of the pro-life movement. When I think of the heartbreak and pain that so many women I know have experienced after abortion, and the lives of so many babies that have been lost, it gives me tremendous energy, drive, and determination to keep going. And I know everyone gathered here today feels the same way. Any society that seeks to call itself civilized must pursue policies that are built on true compassion and concern, not ideology, not politics, not cold indifference. This is our mission. This is our cause, and we will not stop until we see change. To the government, I say, listen to our reasonable demands. To those who think we are going to fall silent, think again. To every woman who has been failed by the system, we see you, we hear you, we will continue to fight for you. This is just the beginning. Stay strong, stay determined. Let's continue to march together for women, for children, for life. Thank you again for being here. Please stay around to mix and mingle, as Peter and Wendy mentioned at the outset, and take the opportunity to share ideas with one another as we plan for the road ahead. Gomani Gia Irv Golair agus Slán Abhaile.
Okay, we're just about to wrap up, but I just want you to leave with this in your minds. If there's one thing that the impact of you turning up today, or something that you've done, a conversation that you've had, maybe a conversation you will have after this march, you might not never know it yourself. You mightn't see the seed that you have planted grow. But I have every confidence and belief that you turning up in the pro-life work that you have done has saved many lives. And even if it just saved one life and helped one mother, wouldn't it all be worth it? So never, ever forget the time and the effort that you put in supporting women, and it is saving lives. Thank you for that.
And be under no illusion, folks, you being here today is an incredible pro-life witness. So let's not let that witness stop. Make sure those photographs go on your social media so that others can see that the ball has started to roll. And we're not going to let the ball roll down the hill. We're going to push the ball down the hill because we are the pro-life generation. Woo!
Are you leaving here today more energized and committed than ever before? Can I hear a yes? Woo. I am so happy to hear that. Look, all that's left to say is thank you so, so much for turning up, for speaking up for women, for speaking up for life. Make new friends, connect with old ones. Thank you so much. And one final ask, if we've any college students, people younger than us, basically, if you can come up to the stage, because we want to get a photo on stage with some of the young and inspirational pro-life members of the audience today. So come up to stage. Thank you all. Safe home, and we'll see you soon.
Thank you on behalf of myself and Wendy. And remember, we are pro-woman, pro-baby, pro-woman, pro-baby, pro-woman, pro-baby,
Pro-life.